Excuse me. Okay, all right. Hey, hello everyone. It's Profesor back with you again, and this time I'm going to go ahead and do the lottery for groups 2 and 3. So, group 1, you already know what your assignment is, and as I mentioned in the previous video, I'll give more instructions in terms of how the discussion process is going to unfold, what you have to do. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention previously, I'll of course say more about this coming up next week. I'm going to request that some of you in the respective groups 1, 2, and 3 take on leadership roles. In that basically you're going to be the group leaders. You're going to be the ones who, in essence, gather in everybody and gather everybody's thoughts and in essence organize the questions amongst each other. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is delegating authority to some of you in the class. And the way I'll do this is that there'll be 2 group leaders. One that will cover the first part, roughly the first half of the Daughter Fortune reading. So group leaders in groups 1, 2, and 3. The first group leaders, you'll cover about 4 chapters, and then once those 4 chapters are done, then I'm going to appoint someone else to be the group leader for the second portion. So the second group leader, you'll cover the remaining 3 chapters. Remember, as I said in the one of the earlier videos, because there are 21 chapters in Daughter of Fortune, I'm breaking everybody up into 3 groups, so each group is going to cover 7 chapters. So in other words, group leader number 1, you'll essentially cover what's happening in the first 4 chapters. So for instance, if you're the group leader of group 1, you're going to cover chapters, that'll be chapters 1, 4, 7, and 10. And then the second group leader in group 1, then you'll go ahead and come in and cover chapters 13, 16, and 19. And the same process will unfold, of course, for the other groups. Of course, just look at the numbering of the groups so you know what chapters you have to work on. But again, more details about the coming up next week. I just want to give a little bit of preliminary information about that as we start getting closer and closer to the Daughter of Fortune reading dates, which again is coming up on the week of October 6th through the 10th. All right, well, let's go and get going. Let's go and see who's going to be in group 2. And I got my my magic hat, so to speak, or or as I said in the previous video, my Alice Cooper hat. Because if any of you have seen clips of Mr. Cooper, he's been around for almost 40 years. He's still going strong. He's in his late 60s now, but he still knows how to rock and roll and put on the good show. And of course, he still has his makeup, his cane, his horror freak show, and of course his hat. So I've kind of taken to calling this the Alice Cooper hat. All right, let's go and see who's in group 2. And like with group 1, in which there were 13 names, I'm going to go ahead and call out 13 names for group 2. And whoever's left over in the hat, you'll be in group 3. So let's go ahead and see who's who. And the first person in group 2, that's Amber Shimke. Amber, I hope you got your name pronounced right. I can tell you for a fact, when I was in junior high in Hilltop High back in the early 80s, PE coaches would get my name butchered all the time. It's sort of a joke. In my family today in terms of how many times my name has been butchered. I mean, I've heard it all, so you can kind of guess as to how they're. I'll give you a couple of Candido, Canudo, Canadeo, Candido. I've heard it all, but I definitely hope I didn't do that to you, Amber. But again, Amber, you're going to be in group 2, so you're first on the group 2 list. All right, second person for group 2. That would be, okay, Brett Speck. So Brett, you're going to be in group 2 along with Amber. And the third individual in group 2, Fami. That's Fami Hadi. So Fami, you're also going to be in group 2. And next up is Nathan August. Nathan, you're in group 2 as well. So I've got 4 names now. And let's see who's number 5. Okay, Ansam Yassin. Ansam, you're also going to be in group 2. Okay, we're almost at the halfway point of the individuals in group 2. Next up, Selena Jackson. I remember Selena from the History 124 class. So I know I mentioned in the introductions, but I'll say it again right here. So Selena, thank you again for joining me for this semester. And if you're going to do the trifecta, I'll definitely consider joining me for History 109 in the spring. But yes, Selena is going to be in group 2 as well. And next up, that would be, okay, Julia Amonette. Julia, you're also going to be in group 2. And let's see who's next. Okay, Jonathan White. Jonathan, you're also in group 2. And let me just double check to see see the count, the roster, in terms of how many are in the group right now. So, okay, so that's 8. 5 more to go in group 2. All right, coming up is Teshonia. Teshonia West. Teshonia, you're also going to be in group 2. Okay, next up, Michelle Webster, you're in group 2. And I think it's just the 2 or 3 more, but let me get a couple more names and then I'll double check the count. Okay, Austin Crispin Smith. Austin, you're also in group 2. And next up we have Trey Colson. Trey, you're going to be in group 2. Let me just double check the count, everybody, because I think I just have one more name that I can mention. Yes, that's 12. So here is the last individual that's going to be in group 2, and that is going to be Brianna Hartpen. So Brianna, you're in group 2. So let me quickly announce who's in group 2, and then everyone that's left in the hat is going to be in group 3. So group 2 again, it's Amber, Brett Speck, Fami, Nathan, Ansam, Selena, Julia, Brianna, Trey, Austin, Michelle Webster, Teshonia, and Jonathan White. So all of you are going to be in group 2, and as I mentioned when I gave the group 1 video, I'll of course list all your names in the general forum section right there in the discussion part of the class. Okay, let me go ahead and quickly see who's left in group 3. And again, if I didn't call anybody's names for groups 1, 2, and 3, that means that you haven't shown any activity in the class for going on 2 weeks. So if any of you are in that category, you got to contact me immediately because I need to know what your status is for the class. If you don't participate, if you don't show any sign of activity for over a week and a half, my assumption is that you're going to drop the class. So again, if any of you are in that category, there's about 4 individuals who you might say are in that borderline danger zone. If you're in that category, please let me know immediately. Let me know if you want to stay in the class, and I'll definitely make sure that you get put into a discussion group. But again, the point is, don't get into the habit of missing too much time because if you do, that's tantamount to if you miss something like 2 weeks in a regular on-campus class. And if you do that in a regular on-campus class, depending on which instructor, whether it's Dr. Contreras, Dr. Ferris, Dr. Gonda, Mr. Innes, Dr. Beto, whoever's teaching, if you miss that amount of time, not surprising he or she is going to drop you, and that's definitely the case in an online class, even though we don't see each other on a regular basis. So again, if you're in that category that you've missed at least 10 days or more, please get back to me immediately that you want to stay in the class, and I'll make sure that you get assigned into a group. All right, let's go ahead and see who's in group 3. So I'll go through this real quickly here because there's no need for me to really turn my head or not peek in names. So I'll do this real quickly. So group 3, Brittany Elliott, okay, Melissa Hine. Okay, actually that's an extra. Okay, Sarah Woodard. Okay, Elizabeth Charlton. Nick Morgan. All right, that's an extra here. All right, Eric Baker. Okay, Corinne Hahn. Clifford Martin. Okay, Anastasia Mahasheva, Anastasia, I hope I got your last name correct. And I think this is the last person in the hat. Oh no, there's 2 more. Okay, okay, Nicholas Swanson. Okay, Christy Segovia, and the last person, last but not least, Brandy Durham. So Brandy, you're in group 3. So let me quickly go through the list again of who's going to be in group 3. So it's Brandy Durham, Christy, Corinne, Clifford Martin, okay, Nick Swanson, Eric Baker, Brittany Elliott, Elizabeth Charlton, okay, Nick Morgan, Sarah Woodard, Anastasia, and Melissa Hine. All right, so those of you who those are the people who are then in group 3. And like I said with the other groups, I will of course list your names in writing over in the in the general forum right there in the discussion board. All right. Well, now you know which groups you're in. So at this point in time, you should definitely, as you get ready to read Daughter of Fortune, know which chapters you're going to be covering, because as I mentioned, there are 21 chapters, and each group is going to cover 7 chapters. So so again, just to go over the breakdown. Group 1, you'll work on chapter 1. Group 2, you'll be work on chapter 2. Group 3, you'll work on chapter 3, and then we'll start the process again. So group 1, you'll work on chapter 4. Group 2, you'll work on chapter 5, and group 3, you'll work on chapter 6. And of course, just keep adding to that until we get to chapter 21, which of course group 3 will be covering. That'll put us into the middle part of November, right before Thanksgiving. And right about that time, of course, is when I'm going to request your videos. And I will, of course, say a lot more about the videos and give you a demonstration video coming up. I'll try to get the video to everybody, I would say about the second, at the very latest, third week of October. So we'll just be getting going with Daughter of Fortune, but I want to make sure that at least you get a sense of what the video part of the class is all about. All right, well, that's it for this. For this. In the next video that I'll talk a little bit more about the breakdown in terms of the readings, and how I want you to navigate with the discussion topics. So basically, there's going to be one more, shall we say, nuts and bolts administrative video about Daughter of Fortune before the readings actually start. And then the readings, of course, will start coming up on the week of October 6th to the 10th, and then I'll have several videos which, in essence, talk about key points, key elements, key historical themes, cultural, social, political events happening in the story in the late 1840s, early 1850s. So those videos will begin to kick in right at the same time that the Daughter of Fortune readings start. So all right, so there we are, everybody. All of you know which groups you're going to be in. So just to hold on to that information for now, and coming up next week, I'll talk more about what you have to do with the discussion process, and the week after that, that's when the actual process of reading and discussing Daughter of Fortune begins to take shape. All right, that's it from here. That's it from the old home office here. Miss London hasn't been showing the last couple of days, but maybe the next time that I record, she'll decide to come out of her hiding area, her den, and come in and say hello. Okay, that's it. That's it from here. You guys take care, and I'll be back with you next week with more Daughter of Fortune stuff.